One can maybe make some date unknown at the courtroom. This court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. This is the most extraordinary case of murder, counsels. I assume I may proceed? Yes, my lord, the defense is ready. At your discretion, my lord. Very well. I hereby call on the prosecution to introduce the case. The incident in question took place 2 days ago, late at night, when the ground was blanketed with snow. The location of the incident was the residence of the accused, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Indeed. The now famous address of number 221 P. Baker Street, was it? The address may have enjoyed fame once, my lord, but will henceforth endure infamy for this grim crime. Yes, sir. Well put. The victim is certain Madame Rosie was found asphyxiated on the accused sofa. My word.
Objection!
But it's unclear as to whether the victim was actually killed in the defendant's suite or not. After all, when Mr. Sholmes left the room for only a brief moment, Madame Rosie somehow vanished herself out of his room completely. Vanished herself, counsel? The victim? Quite true, my lord. There is but one adjoining door between my drawing room and kitchen. Yet, having brewed some tea in the kitchen, I returned to find the room completely empty. There is nobody else present. Ordinarily, my fellow lodger Iris would have been at home. However, on the day in question, she had invited to a meeting of a scientific society in the city. I'm afraid you have a propensity for exaggeration, sir. You claim the victim vanished herself, but really, it seems to me entirely possible she chose to leave via the main entrance of your suite. As it happens, my lord, the door to the accused room was locked at the time from the inside. Very true, Inspector. As such, I can say with considerable surety that the victim did not leave via my front door. What about, yes, she could have snuck through a window.
Objection!
Objection. The windows in the room were not locked, it's true. The victim had opportunity, however, there was snow all around the building outside, and not a patch of it has been disturbed. Would my learned friend care to explain how the victim could have left without leaving a trail? So the victim, Madame Rosie, somehow vanished from the scene before she was killed? Naturally, I was alarmed by the sudden disappearance of my guest. So I summoned this gentleman who resides in the attic room above my own, and we took a cab to Scotland Yard. I can confirm that the defendant called for me. I saw his suite on my way downstairs. And yes, I'm quite sure it was empty, just as Mr. Sholmes had said. When we reached the yard, this very detective happened to be there. Well, you see, I was just in my office for a while, having gotten back for some important business. Then, having explained the situation to the inspector, we traveled back to Baker Street together. At the time, there were no footprints in the snow around the building other than the ones we made. Do I take it, counsel, that you personally witnessed the scene where the incident took place? No, my lord, I went straight up to my bed in my own room in the attic. Inspector Gregson, however, was met with the most blood-curdling sight. On Mr. Sholmes' sofa, the vanished Madame Rosie, motionless. So the victim already dead when you discovered her, Inspector? No, my lord, not dead, but not far from it. She mustered all her remaining strength to say these dying words. That Rod Sholmes will be the death of me. Yes, I overheard that remark at the time too, delivering a rasping voice full of malice. No. Those words indeed proved to be her last. The victim expired moments later. There on the sofa. The cause of death was identified as damage to the respiratory tract, the result of strangulation. Yikes. Right. Does the accused dare to contest Inspector's account? Certainly not. In fact, the Inspector has done an unusually fine job of summarizing the salient points. Sholmes will be the death of me. Those are condemning parting words indeed. In their final moments, the victim named her killer. You, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Objection!
Objection. But the defendant had no reason to take the victim's life. Perhaps you could tell the court, Mr. Sholmes, who exactly Madame Rosie was? Ah, yes. Did I ever mention her to you? I extended an invitation to her that evening, though she is loquacious in the extreme. The most trivial matters quickly becomes a quarrel. I was only too pleased to leave her presence to make tea. Great. It would appear then that the accused did in fact have a motive for silencing his heuristic guest for me.
Objection!
Objection? Putting that tenuous motive aside, what about the other mysteries surrounding the case? I'm inclined to agree with the defense. There remains a number of inscrutable details. The victim's alleged disappearance and subsequent reappearance, leaving no trail of footprints, for example. That's right, the crime described by the prosecution could never have happened. Yet the victim named the accused in her dying breath? It seems to me that my learned friend has overlooked a significant detail here. Nonsense. What have I overlooked? The man in the dock, the so-called great detective, all too frequently makes the following bold claim. There is no crime beyond the realms of possibility. No mystery beyond my powers of reasoning. Ah. So, Mr. Sholmes, you will have no difficulty in explaining how the crime thus described could have taken place. Alright, we're supposed to give a defense of the great detective. But of course, right to put my mind to the matter, the crime would immediately appear to all present be entirely feasible. Please, Mr. Sholmes, whose side are you on? All you need to say is no. Even I can't think of a way that a crime like that could have been committed. But the accused admission be noted by the court. The crime may appear impossible to us mortals of inferior mental capacity. This man alone claimed to know exactly how it was done.
Hold it!
Hold it. Hold on. That's a very fragile statement. Thank you, counsels. I believe I have heard more than enough to proceed to my education. The accused great detective did, in some inscrutable manner, willfully murder the victim, Madame Rosie. I therefore find the defendant guilty? No way. There's gotta be, isn't there the jury thingy, my bob? Let this man be taken from this courtroom and in some equally inscrutable manner be sanctioned for his crimes. We actually, like, our base interest right now, I think it's like 5% or something. So, it's pretty high. I'm not high enough to overcome the yearly interest thing, the yearly inflation, but, you know, it's what it is. And then we'll have our tax returns and, you know, the Twitch tax, and all that fun stuff to do. Alright, court is adjourned. I don't think he's guilty. Hold it! My lord, please. The truth about the mysteries surrounding this case are known to another beside the great detective. This? On my word, Mr. Naruto, you're coming along wonderfully. You've deduced a fundamental truth about this case, I believe. Which could be, detective? The truth to this case is known. Oh, excuse me. Only to the true culprit, of course. Is that not so, Gregson? Oh. Did Gregson do it? That, I suppose, yes. You don't mean, are you suggesting, Mr. Sholmes, that you have an idea to what actually happened that night? An idea, my dear fellow. I could explain the entire incident from start to finish, not a single detail omitted.
Objection!
It seems the detective has failed to grasp the situation. Pray, Mr. Reaper, which of us has truly failed to grasp the situation, I wonder? Vanessa might answer me this. You claim that prior to the incident, the victim suddenly vanished without a trace from your room. If so, how exactly did Madame Rosie disappear? Why, naturally via the window. It was open after all. It was ajar. But that can't be. The room is a whole story above street level. Anyway, no prints were found in the snow. There are any number of ways one could avoid leaving tracks in snow, surely. Such as? Such as flying, for instance? I don't know if that's a good explanation. A fatuous notion. And where do you propose the victim flew, Mr. Sholmes? Is it not entirely plain? The culprit's abode, of course. For having left my suite, that's clearly where Madame Rosie was murdered. Take a moment to consider the cruel irony, if you will. By her own volition, she flew directly to her death.
Objection!
You forget, detective, the victim's corpse was discovered on your own sofa. No doubt because her killer carried her back there. But what about the lack of footprints in the snow then? There just weren't any. Other than our own from when we returned home ourselves. If by our footprints you refer to your own and mine, you're quite right. But there were those of another. On the night in question, there was one other person who could have conveyed the victim to my sofa. Good gracious. To whom do you refer, sir? A man whose somewhat unavailing presence at the scene of the crime would be questioned by no one. Unavailing? You don't mean... Indeed I do. A man who hastened to the scene directly upon learning of the incident at Scotland Yard, namely... Inspector Gregson. Dun dun dun! When you arrived at my address on Baker Street, you were carrying the half-dead Madame Rosie with you. You waited for a suitable opportunity and then laid the victim on my sofa. What?
Objection!
But we were with the inspector when he arrived. How could he possibly have been carrying the victim? We would have noticed. My dear fellow, a most obvious answer presents itself, does it not? The inspector is rarely, if ever, without his overcoat. The victim was simply conveyed in one of its many pockets. Okay. I fail to see what makes this detective great, but I can say one thing with great certainty. A human body cannot fit into the pocket of an overcoat. I believe you may have all fallen foul of a rather significant misapprehension. What? Madame Rosie was not a human. Beg your pardon? Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Naruto? Something troubles you, perhaps? Whatever gives you that idea. Exactly what sort of creature was Madame Rosie? Is it not apparently already? A parakeet, of course. Huh? The most self-conceited specimen, in fact. A parakeet? She was an incessant talker, I must say. Her manner was quite intolerable at times. Wont to turn every conversation to a quarrel. I thought to strangle the creature on more than one occasion. You had a quarrel with a parakeet? But, of course, why else would she have chosen to fly from my window so uncordially that evening? To the abode of the inspector here, besides me, no less. To Inspector Gregson's abode? But why? Because that was the parakeet's home, naturally. What are you... The inspector was called away from town for some days, so it was arranged that I would look after the bird, but it would appear that she was overcome with a sudden yearning for a keeper. This prompting her to her flight from my comfortable suite to the inspector's home at Scotland Yard. Well, Gregson, I believe it's high time you explained. Give us your account of what happened that night, sparing no details, of course. Inspector Gregson? It was an accident. I got back from being away that evening, you see, I just walked through the door of my office and never imagined Madame Rosie would be on her way back to the yard as well. I slammed the door shut behind me, just as she was trying to fly through it. The Madame Rosie? She got sandwiched between the door and the frame and fell to the floor, never to move again because of it. Well, I never. I had to do something, and just when I was trying to think of a plan, you fellas arrived talking about some incident at Baker Street. I had to hide Madame Rosie in a hurry. I stuffed her in my coat pocket and got in the cab with the parakeet. That's so sad. You had to sit in the car all the way with a dead bird. What could possibly have motivated you to behave in such a manner, Inspector? Lord Strongheart, sir. Lord Strongheart? Please tell me I didn't hear that right. It was the Lord Chief Justice who asked me to look after the bird in the first place. He'd been living with the pigeons at the Supreme Court until then. Apparently the other birds had started to pick on her. For the past 6 months, I've been caring for her in my office at the yard. If anything happened to the bird, just imagine. No pay and no time off for the rest of my career. You mark my words, that's what's gonna happen. That's why well... The victim's dying's word, Inspector. The court heard earlier that Madame Rosie spoke the name of her assailant on her deathbed. That rotter Sholmes will be the death of me. Indeed she did, quite uncalled for. Wouldn't you agree? But those words are your true feelings, are they not, Inspector? Clearly you speak of me often at your office at the yard is in this disparaging manner. A mirror that Mary Parakeet took much delight in mimicking. But come on, have you read this month's edition of Rand's magazine? Sorry. This is all absolutely true. This is such a weird escapade thing. Alright, we're out of court. Something wrong, Lord Van Zeeks? No, nothing. I almost drifted off for a moment there. It's hard not to drift off when you've been kept waiting 3 hours already. I wonder if we'll manage to meet Lord Strongheart at all today. You have to deliver the report on the window bank case he asked for on another day. Tell me, Inspector, what became of that bird? Madam Rosie, you mean? She had a narrow escape, but she's still alive. Well, this is bonus content, so it's like little stories sprinkled within the lore of the true story. I delivered her back here not long ago, actually, on Lord Strongheart's orders. He's hoping the pigeons will accept her now. It was something of a shock to hear that she'd been crushed in the doorway of your office, especially as we were all under a misapprehension that Madame Rosie was a person. Sorry about that. It was Lord Strongheart's demand that... good that you're here. I apologize for my tardiness. I'm exactly 3 hours, 34 minutes, and 57 seconds late. Oh, no! Please don't trouble yourself. Nothing gives us greater pleasure than standing here doing nothing for hours on end. Heartening. So let's hear then your report. Those are the pigeons in the background. The Windy Bank trial is concluded, but it's far from over. Windy Bank is the case from the true story in the main game. It seems that dark Far Eastern lawyer, I think that's referring to me, Mr. Naruhodo. So, we'll meet again. Of that I have no doubt. Did you see that, Lord Van Zeeks? Did you? Madame Rosie went flying off among the pigeons there. Happy as a Larry she was. Really, Inspector? You must be relieved. I think that's the end. Now we'll take a look at some of the bonus art. Accolades. Dug around. So we missed 2 running jokes. Things where you had to look through the main game and click on the items, finding spades and ladders, step ladders. Read every idea on Iris' blackboard. I just skipped going through Iris' blackboard thing. Examining the bed. I bet you could go back and probably finish that. I don't know if I'm gonna 100% this. Having examined the violin before talking about these things, I think. Examining the bar place, that, the mystery one. It looks like this is like a mystery interaction with the robbers, the scrupulous criminals, unscrupulous. Having named Akatsuchi Ouchi and Yujin Mikitoba as a victim. I guess this is like, yeah, if you accuse them. The screen's bottle before it falls from the table. I'm glad there isn't more. from this page because it's a lot. Armband at the end of the episode. Talking to Gina when she wakes up. And then there's 2 mystery ones that we haven't solved yet. Alright, let's see. Look at the gallery, but not the moving pictures. Yes, we could watch that maybe a different time. Kazuya Nuri. I mean, I like this design. Very cool. Press E to go to the next one. That's so cool. What's T? British outfit. That's cool. Meiji period. What does this mean? Guess it has, means from different lawyer firms. That's so cool. If only I had the talent to draw like this. I'd probably have to work on that. Maybe we should do a draw along where we try to draw fan art. Steampunk elements. Imagine having a bag so intricate that it could print papers. Gun. Off and on. Glasses, different glass lenses, is non-hair indoor. Dark London iris. I would love to learn how to do that. This is different iris. This is an older iris. And now Iris is like a little kid. Magical girl Iris. There's our friend Kazuma. There's one of our friends. I don't know if Hosonaga is still alive. Maybe he died. I don't even know if we saw this character. Maybe this was the first episode's characters. Oh. I like the Yuji Nikitoba. This guy did something sketchy, right? Yisanosa. Wasanaga. Giselle Brett. Nicolina Pavlova. Santa Claus. I can't unsee it. I just can't. Yours, yeah. Koseki. Wonder why they chose this hair. It's like so like a diamond. After a fish. For Joan. Tobias Gregson and Gina. Eggs, Egert Benedict. I think that's it. And the art in this game is beautiful. You already saw the credits. The sound effects. Okay, take a listen. Listen to me. This sounds like classic modern things, right? Beeps. I'm sure people who got these sounds, love having this opportunity to get it clean. So people probably ripped it before.
protection. Hold it! I'm sure everyone knows by now who it. Your testimony, inconsistency. I will become a lawyer.
Prepare for a Susato takedown! Hiya!
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, I don't have permission to really use these. So, that is super fun. What else? I mean, we already turned on all the DLC stuff. Yeah. And then we have the credits. I love the credits music. That was really great. It's fine. Yes, close.